Taotao Tåsi, people of the land, Taotao Tåsi, people of the ocean. But I think before we became the people of the land, we were people of the ocean.
Hafade Torohamzu Guahusi J. Byrd Castro y Benvenido este podcast Red Rice and Fina'denne, Chamorro Stories. This is part 4 of Taotao Tåsi, and we're in the open on an imaginative voyage where our sockman is sailing through the deep West Pacific Ocean with the Micronesian Pro Master Navigator of the Sea, Palulere Ragoto. And with the whispers of the waves, Palulere shared a concept as ancient as time itself, wolfening and boguf. These are two very profound navigational arts of the Micronesian people passed down through generations. The pro navigators translate their position, harmonizing with the elements that surround them. It's a dance of intuition, practice, and connection. They observe and they absorb their surroundings. They use the land, the sea, the creatures that dwell within it, and the celestial stars above them to become their guides. In this ancient practice, the tangible and intangible converge, forming a blend of understanding. It's a true testament to the magic that lies within our indigenous heritage.
Viva Chamorro, viva!
In the last episode, Palulere described the 32 points around the jewel of the Marianas Archipelago, Guam. And in one of those 32 points, he mentioned a bird. And as a jaybird, I gotta learn more.
Part of the Book of Guam also include the bird that navigators have identified or have given the bird its specific name, Philisolebol.
Philisolebo is a type of migratory seabird found throughout the world around the tropical equator. In English, they're called the black noddy. They got silky black feathers and a white cap. They kind of look like a well-dressed slick crow.
And Philisolebol lives southwest under the leaning 45 west of the Southern Cross, or what we would call Machamelito, the star position. And one way of identifying Philisolebol is that underneath Philisolebol is a fish, a Napoleon brass fish, that also navigators have identified and given a name, Nanagunify.
Nanagunify is also known as the humphead wrasse or Maori wrasse. It's a fascinating creature with a distinct and captivating appearance. It's a larger fish, up to like 6 feet in length, and could weigh several hundred pounds. They also have these thick, fleshy lips that make them look super pouty.
So the Napoleon brass fish would be about another 10 degrees south of Philisolebol. However, Philisolebol could be spotted on top of that fish. And if you see those two creatures together, you know your position southwest of Meleso, off of Guam.
Wow, just to imagine the amount of observation and storytelling required to both create and maintain this knowledge. So let's recap. One way for a PWO navigator to identify where they are in the vast Pacific Ocean and where the many small islands are around them, they had to know that under a specific star position, you can find a very specific bird. And when that very specific bird is flying over a very specific fish, navigators translate that information into an insight to help determine the course of their voyage. But wait, there's more. Philisolebo can also lead navigators to fresh water.
It is said that Philisolebol, after nightfall, would return back to the water reservoir that is at the southern part of Guam.
With every Micronesian navigation story I hear, I feel more pride and honor to call myself Chamorro in Micronesian. While PWO navigators can apply a strategy when they see Philisolebol bird and the Nanagunify fish, they must also remain agile and quick to adapt. So like on this voyage, we're headed to Guam. We're currently sailing south of the island, headed west to go around it and then up to land on a beach. Larry wants to warn us of what he calls the weight of the fish net.
The setting of Iliad that is southwest of Guam.
Iliad is known as Orion's Belt.
Is a submerged reef coral head that we identified as Rojoliating, which means the weight of the fishnet, the imaginary fishnet.
The weight of the fishnet. And we ain't talking about fishing. We're sailing.
On the southern side of that fishnet, that coral head would be the weight. On the opposite side, which would be northwest, on the setting of the star Aldebaran, or as we call it in our navigational stars, Ul, that would be another submerged coral head, Rojoliating Mefang, which would be the weight that holds down the other end of the imaginary fishnet northwest of Guam.
So you have Rojoliating on the south of Guam and Rojoliating Nefang at the north of Guam, each holding down a weight of an imaginary fishnet. That is a big fishnet.
As it is, we know that the sea lane between anywhere the Marianas down to Palau and over to the Philippines is, or in the Philippine Sea as we know it today. We refer to that often as the sea lane of the fishnet. And the reason being, at some point in time when you're having difficulty sailing upwind and into the wind, your best course of action would be to tie down the end of the sail to the end of your canoe and shoot straight down west to the Philippines.
He told us that a lot of canoes have been lost and found in this fishnet. But he's quiet now. I could tell something's going on, so story time is over. He feels something all around the canoe. It's like a sixth sense. As he looks up, he points to the clouds ahead of us and tells us that a storm is approaching and to prepare for rough waters. He warned us of this. He let us know to expect a wet, cold sail through a storm, and that it can and it will be miserable. Thanks for listening to Red Rice and Fina'denne, Taotao Tåsi in the open. I'll see you next time on Taotao Tåsi in the storm. Sijuismase.